Hey everyone, this is TurwaithionX and welcome to what will be my first gameplay commentary on this channel. So, a couple of days ago, on Monday, I was playing in my Astra and Rex, going for credit grinding, because I need a lot of credits, spent it all on the equipment and consumable sale, just gone. Now, I got myself into a rather nice matchup against tier 7 tanks on Siegfried line. And you can see me here using turbo events and optics. Now I will just say that this replay, this game has currently my highest kill count in mortar tanks, but how much that will be and whether I can manage to survive the battle and pull through for a win, you will remain to be seen. Now the reason why I use turbo vents and optics on the Astron is quite self-explanatory. The tank in itself has got quite good gun handling, and because of the 4-second intra-clip reload, it really doesn't need vertical stabilizers. And I use, even though it's not the slowest of tanks, I do use the turbocharger because the engine power otherwise makes it feel rather sluggish. Now you see here that I took 10 standard rounds and 20 premium rounds on this tank, which is actually my alternate setup, and I wasn't actually paying that much attention through the pre-battle loading because my other setup when I'm credit grinding has 20 standard, 5 premium and 5 high explosive, which is what I should have used in the tier 7 matchup. But anyway, you'll see if the premium rounds are really necessary, starting off with a nice shot into the side of the Progetto. You might have seen earlier that I was trying to look through the little window that is up to the right, just in... Let's see if I can find it. Just in here, this little window there, you can actually shoot through it. And I had a really good game in my VK30.02D, the tier 7 German medium tank, where it's just the right height and just the right amount of gun depression to use that position perfectly, and I just managed to farm from there. So far, 2 really good shots into the side of the Progetto, who is really just throwing away their tank a little bit. They just seem to have complete disregard for my position here, which is, I would also like to touch on this position's become one of my favourite positions on this side of the map, because you can shoot through onto that side, and you can also really back up behind this tree and shoot through that alleyway, although unfortunately I am not quite going to get the shot. Now you see that I'm not reloading here, and part of that is I want to conserve my standard rounds. I wanted to conserve my standard rounds at this point, because only having 10 standard rounds means there's 2 full clips with the 5 shell clip that the Astron has. Which can be very effective. It can be a very effective clip. You can pretty much kill most, if not all, tier 8 mediums, and a lot of tier 8 heavies in a single clip with a 1600 clip potential. Is it 1600? I just need to check my facts on that. I think it is, yeah, it's 1600 because it's 5 shells of 320. Unfortunately for this tank, the penetration is quite poor at 190. In saying that, you can make it work on a Borask if you use it quite as a flank. And this Progetto here just is not playing well, not in a good position. Now you can see here that it's quite obvious the Astron's accuracy is not great. I think I have it at 0.38, and that's admittedly without an aiming unit. But it is with vents and it is with rods and arms, so it could be better. Now you can see the 2 tier 7 heavy tanks making a bit of pressure here. VZ, I don't really know why they're doing this, because they're getting themselves in a position below a tier 8 medium tank with quite good gun depression and very decent turret armor. You can see that for the Astron, pretty much the entire frontal turret is very hard to pen apart from the absolutely massive cupola on top. Bouncing a shell from the M2Yo, this tank can actually sidescope really quite nicely if you know how to, and unfortunately I put a poor shot into the M2Y, just missing their cupola, which was pretty average on my part considering that it's got cupola's rather big, but in my defense I did get stunned just prior. Those artillery players on the enemy team certainly knew how to shoot, as you'll be seeing potentially later on in this replay. They did. Potentially going to finish off a couple of our tanks. Now TS5 making some pressure against the VZ44-1. It's a really good player. Unfortunately I can't support them, but it forces the VZ out into the crossfire of the 703 and the Tiger 1. And the high DPM frontally armoured tier 8 assault medium absolutely chews through that VZ. You see here, I went over the rubble there to see if I can try and get some shots try and be a bit more aggressive, try and put some shots in. And then I realised there's a VK-168 on most of their health over there, and I've got standard rounds loaded. Now I do have intuition on this tank, but it's not fully trained, so it's still about 20 seconds to change it. And I just thought, no, I want to be back where I was. So I avoid the 168, and I trundle back to my old position, just because I didn't feel quite happy there. And I was trying to get a couple of shots down this alleyway into the Skoda. TS5 had the same idea, so I wasn't quite able to find a shot. I must have been pretty close in there. Unfortunate. In a rather unfortunate turn of our events, the T-34 Black completely overexposed their tank. Got killed by a Challenger from the back. I'm not sure what they were really thinking, considering that Challenger. No, Challenger hadn't been spotted, but there was another tank destroyer. I think it was a T-28 prototype who had been spotted up that side of the map. And I'm just sitting here chilling, trying to get some shots, making sure I am being patient in the game. Can't quite get a shot on the Viper. Fortunately, they are behind cover. But a lot of welder tanks at the moment I've been finding is about patience, about waiting for your enemies to stuff up and then taking advantage of it. And that's something that I'm starting to get a little bit better at doing. Now, I was thinking here the IS-2S is on low health relatively, so I was hoping that the SMV might push, and I might be able to get a couple of shots into the side. But there you go. The SU-100M1 up in E9, or was it E0? On the border. Our team got destroyed by the Malmebrecher, and also it looks like both artillery contributed a little bit to that, which is a bit unfortunate. Now, seeing this, I decided to go back up and feel like the Malmebrecher is going to push, and hope to try and catch some shots through their really poorly armoured front. I managed to non-pen their lower plate courtesy of the 190 pen, but you can see that green spot on the driver's hatch, and I'm just trying to find that shot again, but it's just not quite there, and it's not the chancy shot that I want to take. I don't want to waste my ammo against something, and again, I almost have another shot in there, but there's another contender. It's the Challenger. The Challenger thinks I'm still focused on the 168, or I think they can potentially go and hit my cupola, but as I said, if you're moving this tank around and using its gun depression, its armor's actually quite decent. Now, 703 making aggressive play to shut down the 168, and that put themselves in an awkward position against the Viper, and I realize I need to help this 703, because we are down by 5 tanks and 2,300 hit points. Firstly, 45 TP. 1 down. Next is the Viper. Try and track them, get a good tracking shot. They use their repair kit and try and start to turn their armor towards me. Now the 703 puts in a good shot, and I shot down the Viper. 703 still in an awkward position with that Skoda T56, and thankfully for the awesome 31 reverse speed that the Astron has, I can really just get around and put pressure on this Skoda. Although I misjudged the poles there, and unfortunately can't quite hit the top of the Skoda's cupola. I realise one shell left here is really not a good position to be in, with the 703 being pressured by 3 tanks, and I really need to use it wisely before reloading. Now at this point, I was very well aware that we were down 4 tanks and 2,000 hit points, and thought that this chance that was going to be a loss, but I was in a strong position. The enemy team didn't know that I was reloading at this point, and it probably bought me a bit of time, and that carried PD-88 over to our north really helped as well. Now this is where I would have liked to have a couple of shots, because there's perfect shots on the T28 there, and unfortunately trying to reverse out of the way of them, I get hit by the Skoda for 540, which is a high roll by 70 damage. Will we need those hit points later in the battle? Maybe, possibly. I guess we'll wait and see, but our artillery are doing wonders against the T28, and again I can't get the shots on the Challenger. Now I think I need to go get that T28, but the Skoda's still looking at me. And while the 703 is being targeted quite massively by artillery, as they very well should be. I'm just waiting for that T28 to be a bit too aggressive, or for the Skoda to expose themselves so I can go after the flank. Game of patience, and there's the Tiger P. Get stunned with the artillery, doesn't matter, 1 shot into the Tiger P. Skoda has pushed, so I realise they miss, and I can just go get the T28. That's 2. 2 shots, 2 kills. Now the Skoda is has no help with the Challenger having gone off to the north and rushing the base. So I decide to come round. I need to kill the Skoda. Skoda must be reloading, they couldn't get the gun round in time. 3 shots, 3 kills. I get tracked by the artillery rather unfortunately. And the 703 the 703 is just stationary. No, the 703 types in chat, sorry, but really it's not their fault at all. As you can see there, it's not their fault at all. I was the one who, when they got tracked by artillery, they had nothing to do with it. And I want to say, at this point, I'm on a top gun. I did not know this. I had not looked at the scoreboard at this time to realise how well I was doing, but also big shout out to this 703. They played really well in this game and definitely saved me a few times. And again, a tank arriving. One good shot into the T-25 too. They're firing HE, but I still know where they are. Blind shot there. Here we go. New contender, SMV. One shot into the side. Fortunately didn't kill them, but it was still a high roll for me. And that T-43, I just can't quite get a shot on there, not with the artillery and absolute... Look at this, look at the graveyard of dead tanks we have over here. It is actually ridiculous. There's 6 tanks just over here, and yeah, sure, a couple of them are friendly, but there are 5 enemy tanks in there. So go around here, see if I can get a shot into the T-43. I spot them, don't get spotted myself due to the bushes. And I have a pixel. Decide I need to try to take the shot. Tough one. Maybe not. Maybe. But now I realise there's only 30 seconds on the cap left, so I need to reload and I need to defend, because this Challenger here is a 2-shot for me. Maybe a 3-shot, depending on their hit points. And I guess what happens here is the Challenger gets a little bit overconfident. They realise, wow, we're going to win this easily. They've got 2 tanks left with only 581 hit points left in between them. We should win this easily. But they don't realise that I have flanked them, got their side, and can start hitting them from the hill. And I'm here, I'm in a nice hold down position. I unfortunately missed that next shot on the Challenger, which I'm not really sure where that shell went, but then I shut the Challenger down, reducing a 1v4 situation to a 1v3. And at this point, I make a mistake. At this point I look at the scoreboard and realise I am on 8 kills. Now the highest in my account previously was 7 kills, which I've done multiple times. T20, Borask a couple of times. Leo, the tier 7 one. I've done it a number of times, and I know where the T-43 is going, and I have 2 shells. They're on 100 hit points, should be fine. So unfortunately they just escaped behind there, and I realise there could be an artillery shell incoming, so I go and hide behind the rubble to wait till I am unspotted. Situation, I definitely have the upper hand. I'm still down with hit points, but there is 1 medium tank on 100 health and 2 SPGs, so as soon as I can kill the medium tank I should be able to go after the SPGs. Now the T-43 pops up, really unfortunate for me, getting me spotted, and try and wiggle to avoid the artillery. Wiggle, 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 and they just escape again. So I decide, okay, let's go around the other side, miss the artillery shell, and I get a chancy shot, which I unfortunately only just miss, and the artillery stuns me. Now in this situation I had a clean shot on the T-43, which I just didn't quite manage to hit, partially artillery stun, partially RNG, partially very shaky aim, having not been in this situation before. And so now I'm reloading. I say, panic. I wasn't expecting to get hit by the M12 just there for 250. I realise they were a very good artillery player and managed to move out of the way. So I try and run from the T-43, and I get stuck on the tank traps. I'm unspotted at this point, but I still get shot down by the Lorraine. Now 8 kills, Radley-Walters medal for me. That is an account best, but it was an easily winnable 1v3 situation. I needed to put one of those 2 shells into the T-43 and then it would have been easy against the artillery. Unfortunately, shaky aim, as I said, first time in this sort of situation. And I really got a little bit unlucky there with the artillery stun on the tank traps as well. I think it was the right play to try and run, reset the vision on the T-43. Wasn't expecting the damaging HE shell from the M12. However, this was a Class 1, unfortunately, did the Astron for 3,100 damage and 8 kills, my first Radley-Walters medal. I also got a Reaper for 6 kills, 6 shots consecutively destroying a vehicle. Now, again, big shout out to this 703. They did extremely well with their 4.6k damage, and it's pretty much the same experience as I got in there. And I made a healthy amount of profit, 146,000 credits from 220,000, because I did fire a lot of gold rounds, unfortunately, due to my loadout. Not perfect marksmanship, a couple of shots through stun, a couple of poor shots on the other hand, and really, all in all, this has been so far my best game in terms of kills and mortar tanks. Unfortunately, 11 kills and Pool's medal went missing. Another time. Anyway, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this one. Hopefully some more good games coming in the future. And for now, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.